What's happening? Today I'm going to talk about something that I've been heavily noticing probably since I've sort of left school. So from 16 onwards to currently now 22 years of age. And it's the overconfidence in myself and others around me. And not even around me, just in the world, where with this heavy promotion of different sources of media, everyone wants to be seen. And everyone's sort of built up their own confidence, which a lot of the time and is forced. And when I say overconfidence, obviously there's so many people that are struggling to sort of find themselves within, me myself included. And I've said before where I'm sort of in all levels of the spectrum, where sometimes I can be confident, sometimes I can be desperately shy and not want to sort of talk to anybody. But there's a lot of now, what I will say, performed confidence, where people are just not simply being authentic enough in this world. There's a rise in this performed confidence where we praise boldness from people when they come off as certain, and how sort of dominant they are in holding a conversation. And how the world's sort of going now is that people are rewarded for sort of speaking louder rather than thinking and actually saying the right thing. And a lot of this is getting promoted on channels, TV channels and shows on video platforms, where they're getting people that want to be famous, and they sort of are just not. They're not promoting what really needs to be promoted to this world. And a lot of the time as well, you'll see it as well when they come off these shows, where these people have actually got like really high level qualifications of people, but because they sort of want financial stability, fame, and to be seen and known by people, they perform, and their intelligence, their intellect is dropped by the viewer, because with the sort of balance of people on the show, they sort of bring each other down to sort of the lowest level, where you go like, surely I'm not going to take anything from this show because I don't believe in it. I don't believe in this intellectual level. In life, we're told to sell ourselves in terms of our confidence and not our soul and our authenticity. But a lot of the time, and this is how people get found out on these shows where they're clearly being not authentically themselves, is that we're all figuring it out. So a lot of the time when people come off like this, you can just tell it's forced. You can tell it's not authentic, because people are still figuring out who they are, let alone these social dynamics, especially if they're changing social dynamics. And a lot of the time now, if you're in a conversation with someone, you sort of feel like uneasy when you reply going, I actually don't know the answer to the question you're putting in front of me. But really, it should be the case where if I say, I don't know, mate, that should be the smartest answer that I can give, because I can't know everything. There's also the debate on confidence versus competence, where it's more people are giving off this overconfidence that they don't have, but they're performing before they're actually competent enough to cope with what's going to come when they put themselves out into this sort of space where they could potentially get judged. They could, and they don't grasp the fact that people are not going to like this overbearing confidence that they're providing, because they can tell it's not authentic. We're now skipping the sort of humble middle ground of our lives, the awkward quiet phase when we're on our own and going, am I doing the right thing? And we're trying to get somewhere straight away, so we go, I'm going to perform. I'm going to show this confidence that I'm going to need to show to get to where I want to be. And the thing with this performing, this self-promotion, people see this self-promotion as a skill. When it's not, it's fake. And a lot of the time, you can sort of sound smart enough in the world now to get through it, when really you're just sort of feeling it within. And a lot of people are figuring you out and going like, do you know what? Actually, I don't agree with this point you've made, because you're just sort of putting two and two together, and you're putting one and one together, and it doesn't make three. And that's why a lot of the time it's coming off across now. There's also a danger of overconfidence, where people thinking they know every answer, every solution to a problem. It now kills our curiosity and our just willingness to ask questions and approach people that we now think we're above. When really, speaking to new people and asking questions, you'll become smarter, because you'll just learn more about them and their culture and their joys. And it might even enhance yours. It also distorts our risk. We're not taking enough because we think we're confident, but we're afraid to talk to new people. And we take this leap, but we don't take it with any courage. We just take it with this overbearing confidence. And it feeds our ego. And I've discussed before that ego is not a bad thing. But in the case of having overconfidence, it is, because it massively stops our growth. And what you will see with these TV shows, when they have seasonal series every year, is that people see people on there and they go, I want what they've got. I want what this fake overconfident mind has for myself. And it becomes contagious, where the next season they will apply and they will know how to win, and they will know how to lose. So they'll know how to perform and behave for people to like them and gain more success after. Because the thing is, loud people lead people into the deep end of the pool, where you see them come out the side of it, and at the time they've got this success, but really you have absolutely no idea what is going on. You don't know about how they actually behave in real life compared to when a camera is on them, or when they're speaking to a certain dynamic of people or individual people. You just see the end of the tunnel for your own growth. And you don't know how deep the deep end is. And you see a lot of the time where only a few people actually get success every year from these shows, because people take a liking to individuals. And they can also figure out who is the good egg and who is the bad egg. But people don't see the whole perspective of these overbearing, overconfident people, because they go, I just want what they've got now. And you've got to become personable to who's actually speaking to you, and you've got to go, am I actually being me here? Because when you're not yourself, people will figure you out. We also have a call now to intellectual humility, where confidence in life really is what you do quietly and not loud, not telling everyone what you're doing, why you're doing it, like your tricks. Because there is no trick to confidence. You've got it, or you can learn to grow it. And confidence is rooted in knowing what you know and what you don't, and what you're willing to find out. And humility in life, humility from others, that's what keeps you in your mind teachable. You don't know everything, you don't have it all figured out, but being humble and sometimes vain, but not overbearingly confident, allows you to learn and be taught new things. And there's no wrong in saying, I could be wrong, or I don't know. Because a lot of the time, you don't need to have the last word in these conversations, in these social dynamics, for it to be the right one. A lot of the time, you can hold this confidence in yourself and your own opinion where you don't need to share it. But why are we so sort of worried in being 100% sure in ourselves? And it's because we live in a world right now where if we're not sure, it punishes our hesitation for decision making. Where if someone asked you a question at an interview and you said, I don't know, now they will go, they can't answer my simple question, or they don't have the knowledge to do the role I want. And that's the problem. If we're not sure, we're immediately marked down as being a hesitant individual. When really, yes, we might not know the answer or have that intellectual level for that certain thing, but we do for other things, and to be labelled as hesitant is wrong. We can't have it all figured out. And we have to look like we do to get through life now, apparently. And that's just the way it's going. But it shouldn't be the case, which is unfortunate, but it's what's going down. A lot of the time now, we are so overconfident where we now we enter places and conversations and we bluff, we lie, we perform, we wear a mask that isn't ourselves. And what we do, we convince ourselves that this act that we're putting up is the right thing to do to succeed. Because what we do right now, to be seen by others and seen that we're sure in ourselves, we will do anything we do to be seen. And in my opinion, that's the wrong thing in terms of growth, social dynamics, sustaining relationships, and also building new connections. This overconfidence and forced nature of how we're living can't be the case. And it won't be for me anyway, because that's not how I want to carry myself in life. And I hope that you wouldn't try and do the same thing as well.